Assalamualaikum. We are from class BA10, group 3. We'll now be presenting financial accounting and reporting of a sole proprietorship business. The shop that we choose is Chewbits Delights, and this slide is specially prepared for Madam Nur Hayati Binti Madno. These are the group members. Firstly, we have Muhammad SYAMIM IRFAN bin Muhammad RIZAL. Next is myself, Muhammad FIRDAUS bin BIDI. After that, Muhammad HARIZ HAIKAL bin HAMDAN. And lastly, Muhammad NASRUL HANIF bin MASOR.
Before we start our presentation, I would like to explain the content of the study in business organization that we choose. First and foremost, we want to know about the background of the business organization. Second, we want to determine business characteristic. Third, we want to define classification of business items. Fourth, we want to identify how they record their recording process of their business. Last but not least, we would like to know about the strength and weaknesses of the recording process. Next, we move on to the background of the business. After discussing which team members, we agree to choose Chewbits Delight Enterprise for our business organization for this project. Type of business for Chewbits Delight is a sole proprietorship which is owned by one person. Chewbits Delight have been registered with Companies Commission of Malaysia, SSM. Chewbits Delight been operating for 2 years since 2022. The location of Chewbits Delight at B17 and B18 Car Wholesale Street Market, Puncak Alam, Selangor. The owner of Chewbits Delight is Mr. Amir Qayyum bin Azlin. That was a picture of he. He has contributed his capital in the business amount 15,000 ringgit by himself without taking any loan. Lastly, the business activity is selling snacks and drinks such as variation of chips, assorted nuts, a variety of pickles, and canned drinks.
So for my part, I'm going to continue this presentation with the business characteristics of a sole proprietorship for Chewbits Delight. So I'm going to start off with the capital. Okay, what is a capital? Capital is most frequently defined as the money used by a business to fulfill upcoming expenses or to invest in new assets and projects. It can be the amount of money or properties from the owner that they use to run a business. In the case of Chewbits Delight, the owner told us that he used 15,000 ringgit from his saving to start his business. So that's how Chewbits Delight were formed. Next is ownership. Since Chewbits Delight is a sole proprietorship business, it only has a single owner. A sole proprietorship business can only has one owner. If a business have more than one owners, then it is not a sole proprietorship business. It's very simple. The next part is liability. A sole proprietorship business can have unlimited liabilities. So what does it mean by unlimited liabilities? Unlimited liabilities refers to business owners who are legally liable for any debts of their business. There is no maximum amount of debt that is kept. So the owners are legally responsible for the full amount of their debt. For example, if Chewbits Delight owners decided to make a bank loan, from a bank, then he will be 100% liable for the loan that he just made. And the next part is books and accounts. A sole proprietorship business is not required to keep a proper books of accounts. but however, it is better for the business if the owner can keep a books of account, because it can make the transaction process much more efficient. And the next part is existence. Chewbits Delight is not a separate entity. It means that the business has no separate entity from the owner, and the owner is not required to record a transaction when he uses the business's assets for his personal use. For example, if Chewbits Delight owner want to use the snack for personal use, so if the owners want to eat their own snacks, they didn't have to record the transaction. They can just go ahead and take the snacks and just eat it right away. And for the management and control, for a sole proprietorship business, it is managed and controlled by the owner. Chewbits Delight is operated by the owner himself with the help of 2 workers. For profit sharings, all the profits for a sole proprietorship business belongs to the owner. It is also the same if the business suffered losses, so all the profits and losses of Chewbits Delight will be borne by the owner himself. So that's all from my part. I'm going to pass it to the next person. Thank you very much.
Now, I will be presenting the classification of business items. Before we get into the business items, I would like to firstly explain the classification of the business items. There are assets, liabilities, revenues, expenses, and capital. For assets, there are 2 types, which is the current asset and the non-current asset. For the current asset, it is an item that would be sold or things that we get, such as money and goods. For non-current assets are things that are not to be sold or being used for a long period of time. For example, car, generator, or property. Capital is the starting point for our business. Capitals are the funds for starting a business, such as savings. Revenues are the income or profit that we get from selling the goods. Expenses is the money that is used with the purpose for businesses. And lastly, liabilities are the financial obligation of a business to an external party. Now that I have explained about the classifications, let's get into the classifications for Chewbits Delight's enterprise. For the current assets, we have snacks, drinks, plastic bags, and plastic containers. For the non-current asset, we have car, generator, table, fan, tent, light bulb, plastic basket, plastic tray, water jar, polystyrene container, and lastly, banner. The capital that the business started is 15,000 ringgit from their own savings. Their revenue are 9,000 monthly, and the expenses that they use are salary for staffs, petrol for generator, site rent, and purchase goods. For this business, they have no liabilities because their own capital came from their own savings. These are some pictures, for example, of non-current asset and current assets. For non-current asset, we have cars, generator, fan, and banner. We can't put a lot of the pictures because the list of the items for non-current assets are a lot. Therefore, for current assets, we have drinks, snacks, plastic containers, and plastic bags.
Hi, I will continue this presentation, which is recording process of business. Recording process of business, what is that? Recording process of business is the process of capturing financial data relating to business activities and operations in a systematic and structured manner. So, Chewbits Delight recorded their business process by bookkeeping. What is the meaning of bookkeeping? Bookkeeping is a process of recording company's financial transaction into organized accounts on a daily basis. So, if Chewbits Delight wants to know their financial situations, he must go through these 5 stages of bookkeeping, which is transaction documentation, journal, ledger, trial balance, and financial statements. So, the first stage of bookkeeping is transaction documentation. What is purpose of transaction documentation? So that the company can identify and prepare source of documents for all business transactions to verify its accuracy. So, in the case of Chewbits Delights, if they bought stocks from the supplier on credit, it must have invoice. If they sold their product to the customers, they must identify carefully all the business transactions. So the second stage is journal. Journal is a running record for all business financial transaction, and it is used to reconcile accounts and is transferred to other accounting records such as the general ledger, which is on stage 3. So we are focused on stage 2. So journal, if they are identify all the transaction documentation, they must proceed to journal. So they are put on in a chronological date. So for example, if I bought it from Chewbits Delights on 7th of May, Chewbits Delights put it on the 7th of May in the journal. So if they have recording transactions before 7th of May, they put it on on 7th of May. So if Chewbits Delights finish all the journals, they must put it on stage 3, which is ledger. What is a ledger? Ledger is an account used to store bookkeeping entries for balance sheet for business transactions. Ledger can include account like cash, account receivable, and so on. So Chewbits Delights finish their journal, they must put it on the ledger on the T section, debit, credit. So they must put it on all transactions. Sale is on credit, cash is on debit, and then put it on new account debit, new account cash. Put it on debit is debit. Cash is a debit. Put it on the transaction and so on and so forth. Now, if they balance all the ledger and now put it on stage 4, which is trial balance. Trial balance is a financial report showing the closing balances at all accounts in the general ledger at a point of time. So they are finished. So they are put it on the closing account and the opening account. So trial balance, so record all the closing accounts on the ledger. So the fifth stage and last but not least is financial statements. Chewbits Delights must prepare financial statements at least once a month for closing an account. So what is a financial statements? Financial statements are a set of documents that show your company's financial status at a specific point of time. So if they have finished all the 4 stages, and then put it on the financial statement, and see if they are make a profit or not, and then they are gonna do it all over again in the next month. So thank you very much.
Lastly, I want to talk about the strengths and weaknesses of recording process in Chewbits Delight business. Chewbits Delights use bookkeeping for their recording process. The strength of bookkeeping is the cash flow management. It is easy for the owner to keep a close eye on the cash flow. Next is decision making. Bookkeeping can provide accurate measure of their performance in the business. Is the business slowing down or running smoothly? Such questions can be answered with bookkeeping, which can guide business decisions such as justifiable to close down a store location or hire more employees. After that, it is about the cost. Having to buy a book for bookkeeping is much cheaper than having to buy expensive system for financial keeping such as PC or laptop. For weaknesses, firstly, it is time consuming. It will take a lot of time to fill in the data if there is many data to be filled. Furthermore, it is risk of error. Bookkeeping involves manual entry of data and there is a risk of human error. When the data was wrong, it can affect financial statement and create difficulties during tax filing. Lastly, chances for data loss is higher. If there is any accident were to happen like the bookkeeping was gone or burned, all data will be lost.